thing too that I'd like to just put forward is that in deep sleep, you know, that awareness seems to vanish also. You know, there is almost this complete non-existence in when any of us go into deep sleep. You know, not only do we lose our body, we also lose our mind, and also the awareness seems to be somewhere, you know, totally absent as well. And yet when we come out of that state, you know, it all comes back again. Can you just add to that?
You know, if everything's fresh and new and spontaneous, there's no past or future to remember. There's no need for memory, and that's, I think, when we're in deep sleep, it's more of our natural state. There's no need for memory at all. It just is. There's no past or future. There's no plan or purpose or goal. It's just a pure, spontaneous, loving to be. With no need to know why. No, you know, the memory is for the person. It's for the duality, so we can have duality, so we can have display. You know, memory is very important, so we don't have to wake up and literally start fresh and new every day and remember who we are and our life and speaking and words and interactions. So, yeah, when it's spontaneous, fresh and new, there, you know, when people say the thoughts between, or the space between the thoughts, you know, that's that fresh and new part, so everything can arise.
So there is awareness in deep sleep. Is that what you're saying, Donna?
Well, it's not aware of anything. It's just pure awareness
of being.
Of being.
Just
yeah,
is.
Because you're, and when you're sleeping, your heart's still beating and the life is still there, but there's no memory of it. There's no consciousness of it.
But in this deep, when I wake up out of that, you know, perhaps go back into a sort of a dreaming state for a time and then into the waking state, is it like that child, you know, picking up those toys and playing with them again?
Yeah, but you just said it, they're states, David.
And
all states they all come and go.
Exactly.
Yes, so those are all happening in the space of awareness.
Yeah. No, thanks,
awareness
Donna.
Is the absolute, and everything you're talking about is the play of the absolute, or in the absolute, if you want to call it that. It's something that you're aware of, but you're the actual awareness of whatever states come, whether it's sleep, deep sleep, waking, dreaming. You're the dreamt. So anything that comes from the dreamt, which is you, is also going to come and go. It's a state.
And is it like, you know, when we come out of that deep sleep state, or that pure awareness, that we're starting to put on these layers of clothing, you know, as we move on?
It's another expression of that life force energy. And it's appearing as a body mind.
And then we take them off.
That's waking up. That's waking up. In truth, nothing's happening. It's just all energy expressing as David waking up. As a body mind arising and putting on clothes and going to work. It's just like, it's no different than the clouds passing or the feelings and everything we're talking about. It's all happening in the space like awareness.
But that putting, as you say, putting on the clothes, you could liken that to putting on, you know, taking back on the body, taking back on the mind, and then jumping back into the play.
It's the life force energy expressing as David experiencing a life, sleeping and not sleeping, and waking up from sleep, going to sleep. It's just what's happening. It's an expression of that.
But constantly putting on these sets of clothes and then taking them off and putting them on. It's constantly happening.
Constant movement. Constant movement. It's just energy expressing as everything. Doesn't matter what you call it or what we're saying or what we're labeling or how we're describing it. They're all different states of that. It's infinite potential and possibilities of that energy and how it's appearing and expressing. And the awareness of it. They're not separate. I have a story I could tell you that I love to tell people. It's like the sand on the beach. All there is sand, but it's taking the form of castles and people and sleeping and waking up and being born and dying, different, what does Bob say, pattern, shapes, and forms. But it all goes back to sand. It was never not the sand. It's like the wave is never not the ocean. It's always water. Even though it appears to be different, it's still water. So it's just energy expressing is everything. No purpose to it, no reason for it, just because it can. And it's love, if you were going to give it a reason, it's love loving to be. It can be anything. And it's taking this expression, these forms right now. That's our experience right now. That we're experiencing Donna and David and Desmond or Bob or Kat. It's just energy expressing as everything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, thank you,
To
Donna.
know. It's just simply knowing. It's, let's say, just for an example, because this is what we're experiencing is duality. Let's say you have a beautiful emotion of love. And you don't need to really speak about it. In fact, it's almost impossible to express it. It's actually better not to speak about it and just to be it, just to enjoy it as it is with no concepts or labels attached to it. But there's this knowing. It doesn't matter where the love came or what initiated that love or what the source of love was. It's just this knowing without any words, and it's this pure loving, knowing and loving to be. It really is. It's not a knowing of everything or things or people or what's going on or purpose or goals or meaning. It's just pure knowing of existence.
Yeah.
And it's more apparent, let's say, as a body mind experiencing that. Only the body mind can know that. But it's the knowing itself that allows the body mind to experience itself. But there's a deep knowing of knowing through a body mind experience. Once this experience, the state of body mind is no longer expressing, there's really nothing to know anymore. It's just pure, it almost folds in within itself. There isn't anything, there's no way to express it. There's nothing, there's no need to. And it's really impossible to explain. It's something that truly has to happen individually, so to speak, as a person, because explaining it's really impossible.
So
But once that identity is gone, once this identity as duality goes back to just pure energy, there's just for a split second between the knowing of a person and that just pure knowing, there's just a split second. It's like, oh, it's always been that way. There's just the knowing, and then everything else just disappears. There's no knowing of things anymore. It's just pure knowing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Donna.
I wanted to say something else too, because someone was talking about emotions earlier. And I just was talking to a friend that was saying she's not feeling anything. And she's feeling now a sense of despair. And I said, well, you're feeling something. You're feeling despair. And she said she's frustrated because she just doesn't know where she's going. She doesn't know anything. And she used to care about so many things. And she was just so full of experiencing. And she says, I'm just not experiencing anything. And she feels like something's wrong, something's missing. And she should be feeling love and this some kind of explosion of something. And my first comment to her was that you're switching seats from the person experiencing all these things to the impersonal awareness where all those experiencing happen. Because in the seat of awareness, there's no real activity. It's that no thing where it's kind of like a blank piece of paper where you can write anything on it. And she's finally feeling and sensing and aware of her state as that blank piece of paper, while everything and anything can be written on it. But she's used to being in the other seat where I feel this and I feel that and I like this and I like that. She's kind of switching and she's really uncomfortable with it. And I said, boy, this is a beautiful place to be where I don't know anything, I'm not feeling anything, because the person, that personal personhood, all that noise and and you know, the attraction to it and the fixation on that personhood is starting to kind of lose its grip, and you're falling back in that open space of awareness. And she thinks it's bad and it's horrible, and she's really frustrated, and she's like, well, there's supposed to be joy and love and, you know, this oneness and everything. And I said, just right now you're expressing as the not knowing, and you're expressing as not being identified with all these states and feelings and things that come and go. And everything comes and goes, even her state of this not knowing feeling, this not caring feeling, because in that emptiness, all of a sudden something starts switching, you start feeling the fullness of life. So when all these things start appearing in it, I feel like you can really experience it as it truly is without the added stories that we put to all these things that appear in our play here. So when the hummingbird comes when I'm drinking my coffee on my balcony, I'm really present to it, and there's a real beauty to it. There's a wonder. And I said that hopefully might start switching from that state of awareness, from the state of personhood to the state of awareness. You'll really be present to what's happening instead of being in your thoughts about what's happening. So it's really great, you know, that to have these two extremes, all these emotions being identified with it. And now you're being identified with that pure state of beingness where anything and everything can show up. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me. And I'm like, no, that's beautiful.
Question, Donna. Can you switch from one state to the other as an
Well,
act
I'm
of
not
will?
doing it. It just arises. All states arise,
No,
but there's an awareness of it. So
no,
I'm not really doing it.
but when you're on your balcony with that cup of coffee, looking at that hummingbird, in that more personalized state of you know, interacting with the play or the dream, can you then go back to a more impersonal state that, you know, was spoken about too?
Well, it's the impersonal watching the personal state.
I know,
it's the awareness watching, you know, aware of duality.
Yeah,
it's the play
exactly.
of duality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you're not answering my question, if you will.
Well, they're not separate. It's not separate.
No. But can you transit from one to the other state?
There's no transit. It's all one event, if you want to call it that. It's all one expression. It's awareness expressing as everything.
No.
It's expressing as Donna being aware of a hummingbird on a balcony, enjoying it.
No, if I may, sorry. You know, you're talking about, I think it might have been Megan before in relation to emotions, etc. You know, being, or no, sorry, it might have been someone else. But you know, and this non-feeling state. Now, do you know what I mean now? Can you consciously move from one state to the other? You know, that blank piece of paper state?
It's simply an awareness that it's all one. Let's put it that way. There aren't two things happening here.
No, I know.
From one to the other. It's a recognition.
No, but it's where the awareness is. Can you switch the awareness from one to the, or can it be? Can you?
It is awareness focusing and fixating on the event, or it's also the awareness is the space for which that happens. It's awareness of the freedom is so different, because freedom is allowing everything to be, even if it's the not knowing, even if it's a blank right now and you're not experiencing anything. That's freedom, to allow everything and anything. And I absolutely told her that it's your concept about what's happening that's causing suffering right now.
Yeah.
And you know, and your perception of how things should be. And I said, this is a beautiful state of freedom to allow anything and everything to come and go. And for me, a lot of times when people are saying, I don't feel anything, I said, you're always feeling something, because right now you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling despair and you're feeling depressed. So you are feeling something, but she looks at it as, because it's not appearing in the way she wants it to, it appears wrong. And it feels empty because she wants something else to be there. But that freedom allows all of it, whether it's the despair, the depression, the joy, whatever state's going to arise. And I said, you're getting, you know, a sense of what freedom feels like. And I remember feeling like it was a free fall. Like, and it actually, for a moment, it terrified me because I thought literally anything could happen, anything at any moment. And when I realized that that was so true, and I'm talking the worst of the worst of the best could happen at any moment. And I really was frightened about that concept. But then when I realized I was that freedom that doesn't get changed or affected by whatever's coming and going, then the peace came that whatever appeared, I wasn't writing a story about it. I wasn't afraid of it. It wasn't running from it. And an acceptance started arising that whatever appears is what's appearing, but I remain unaffected. But yeah, it's a horrible place sometimes to be because you feel like life is passing by, nothing's happening. She doesn't have feelings for her husband anymore. You know, she feels like she wants to be single. She just wants to pursue this. And, you know, so she's going through a lot of experiences and changes, but she thinks nothing's happening.
Yeah,
like that's not
that's
the case at all.
And there's no one.
Exactly. What's happening? I told her that. I go, you are blooming. You know, flower doesn't say, I don't want to blossom this way. No, I want to blossom a different way. Just stop. I don't want the smell. I don't want these colors. I don't want these thorns. I don't want these leaves. I don't want, you know, this petal. No, it's blooming perfectly just the way, and it can't bloom any differently than it is. So I told her that too, that you are blossoming exactly the way you're supposed to be blossoming, and you can't do it any differently.
yeah,
So if the state of not knowing or being frustrated or not having feelings and questioning your life choices and things, that's how you're blooming. That is how you're expressing, and you're not doing it. And as with all states, this too shall pass.
Some
I
beautiful
remember sitting on my couch meditating one day, and I just didn't want to do anything all day. I just wanted to sit there, but I could feel this push and this drive, this habitual conditioning to do, and I just felt like, you know, and I felt this guilt coming, this narration that this is wrong, you should be doing something, and sitting here, you're wasting your life, you should be listening to a teacher, you know, reading his books or speaking, and I remember sitting there and watching all this activity in the mind and thinking, who told me all that stuff? And I'm looking at the neighbor's cat sitting on its front porch, sitting there for hours, doing nothing all day long, it's sunning itself. And I thought, the cat's not thinking these thoughts. He's perfectly fine being a cat sitting on the porch doing nothing all day, except maybe catch a mouse now and then, who knows?
yep,
And it was so clear to me, the narration we have in our head about how things should be. And in that recognition, this relaxation arose that I was fine whatever happened. If I spent my day doing nothing, if I spent my day being busy, it didn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm going to do what I want. It just truly doesn't matter in a beautiful way. So if you want to be busy, fine. If you don't want to be busy, fine. It's a beautiful doesn't matter. You can do or be anything. And that's the freedom.
yeah,
For me, it was a real freedom to, you know, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what I want. That's perfectly fine. Then all of a sudden I know what I want to do, and I'm busy for a week, and then I don't know what I want. I'm just sitting for a week. You know, that's like, it was so wonderful watching my life play out instead of demanding it appear in a certain way or chasing something that wasn't happening that I felt should happen. Because even the chasing of something or trying to make something happen, it still didn't happen until it happened in its own good time. It's just chasing for nothing, you know, because it was going to happen it wasn't up to me. It was just so interesting to watch that everything truly, truly does spontaneously appear and arise and play out in its own time, in its own way, and I, Donna, have nothing to do with it.
beautiful.
some beautiful